Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Supratik. I'm a tech entrepreneur and more importantly, a volunteer with TiE Pune. This lovely evening is set with the weather and hopefully with a very special guest. Tel, thanks so much for making it here. And a big warm welcome to Pune.
Thank you.
With that said, let me please welcome Tel and over to Tel and to felicitate Tel, I would introduce and welcome and ask Jitendra to please welcome him on stage, please.
Good evening, friends.
Good evening.
I know there's a traffic construction going on here. I'm sure you must have gone around the corner and spent a little bit of time to reach here, and I'm sure a few more are on the same process. But how many of you are here in this room who are entrepreneurs? Can you just raise the hand? Okay. How many of you think that you would like to get some kind of a connect which can help me to grow my business in terms of true dollars and cents? Okay, interesting. Some of you are not, which is surprising, but we can have 1:1 outside the room. But in reality today, as part of today's My Story session with Tel Ganesan, it's not just we are going to go through the journey and the challenges, what he might have faced or any other things, but he will also help us in understanding, can I, sitting there, get connected for my business growth? And that's where we'll spend enough time to understand what is the process which probably can be followed and how can we help. So with that, warm welcome to Tel, and I would really appreciate if you guys can have interactive sessions. That will be great. So Tel, just to start the conversation, if you can just help us go through your childhood journey and education, and how did you came to like a maturity level, if I may say that. That will be great.
So I was born and brought up in Trichy, Tamil Nadu. And then when I was 17, I went to Chennai. I went to College of Engineering, India. Like any person, born and brought up here, always aspirations to go to the US. So I did all the TOEFL, GRE and all that stuff, and then I ended up in the US for my master's. And growing up, we didn't have this many cars back then, so my passion was cars. And as you know, Detroit is the automotive capital of the world, so I ended up there pursuing my master's, and soon after I went into Chrysler. So that was my journey. It's a typical, any middle class family would have that aspiration, right? You got to, and especially growing up in India, education is the only ticket to success. And being in South India, it's even more. so that's what took me there.
I'm sure South Indians are much better genius than good Jews like me, for sure.
I'm not trying to pit against that.
No, it's a fact. So why auto? I mean, any reason why you said that you were fascinated by cars, right? But which year was this? When did you go to US?
89.
89.
Yes.
So IT was still not there
Yes.
yet, right?
Yeah.
So then you started getting into automobile industry and joined the Chrysler. How was your journey in the Chrysler, and how did that work?
I spent about 13 years at Chrysler.
Okay.
I went through 3 or 4, every 4 years, we release a new car. So I ended up working, 4 different vehicle line in the process, most of the time spent on Jeep. Growing here, when you see a Jeep, you get excited back then. And then, so actually putting your hands on the vehicle and designing them and manufacturing them was something I enjoyed doing it. And we say,
India-made Jeep is actually getting manufactured in Pune.
So you were in the mainstream business, right?
Yes. So my journey, so as you know, most of the people coming from overseas, especially in the US, they tend to put us into more about behind the scenes. Like you go in code, you go and program. We keep throwing dirt at you. Nobody sees what you're doing. But somehow I was fortunate enough to be in the mainstream, and then so I was into the design and all that. But then soon I realized that working over there, that it's still a good old boys network. Meaning it's like a flock of birds. If you're not part of the flock of birds, you're not going to keep going. So So the managers changes every 4 years, as you know, the managers keep changing. And then every time I say, what happened to my promotion? I said, Bob will be over there, you talk to Bob. So Bob comes and again you got to do all the song and dance to Bob, and then Bob will say, okay, I'm getting promoted, Jim is going to take care of you. The cycle keeps going on and on and on. And then for every new person, you got to do the same song and dance. One guy even sent me to Japan. I want you to go to Japan because nobody wants to go to Japan. So you do this for me, when you come back, I'll take care of you. I come back, he's not there. So and the new guy asked, I said, hey, what happened? He said, you have not done anything for me lately, so you got to do something for that guy. So he sends me to the plant. So I spent a couple years in the plant, being part of the manufacturing process. So as you know, going through this process, I got sick and tired. In the meantime, I got so many awards and all that. All I would get out of Chrysler was that, a photo opportunity with the CEO, pat on the back, dinner for 2 coupon. I mean, heck, guys, you should do better than that. So how long you can motivate a person like myself? So I thought to myself, so then I decided, hey, this is not going to go anywhere. Then I talked to my boss at the time, his name is Vern, and I said, Vern, I want to quit. I don't enjoy my job much, and then whatever you give it to me, I can do it in 4 hours. Other 4 hours, I twiddle my thumb. What am I supposed to do? So if I go out and venture, if it doesn't work out, will you hire me back? He said, of course I will do. So I said, boy, this is the best insurance I can ever get. So what am I going to lose? I lose nothing. So I go and try, and it doesn't work out. My boss is ready to give the job. So I went and tried. Of course it worked. I never looked back. But the 13 years really gave me a lot of global experience, which may not be needed in a small company, but nevertheless it gave me a lot of perspective.
So you said from working 13 years, spending into mainstream business in automobile
Yes.
company, then you started Kyyba,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Kyyba is completely different.
Completely
business.
different. The reason, Jitendra, is that obviously everything requires a lot of capital investment. I don't have money. IT at that time I thought is a very less risky business. Anybody with a phone, if anybody in a basement, anybody have a room or a bedroom, phone, you could start the business, and that's how it got started. And then it's all service business. It just started with myself and one person, another person. It kept going and going, and keep repeating the same thing over and over. So that's where we ended up.
Just curious, this name is slightly unique. Even spelling. How did this Kyyba? What is it? What does it?
Yeah. So 2005 I started. So we grew the company through acquisition. So 8 I bought one company, and 9 I bought another company. In a span of 3 years, we ended up having 3 different companies. And so the 3 companies, we had 3 different names. So with 3 different names, and it became a challenge. All 3 were 3 different locations. So I reached out to a marketing company. We gave them a $3,000 retainer to come up with some names. I told them, hey, look, come up with some really attention-grabbing name. And one of the 3 names were, Vision Tech Solutions, too long to be called. That was the original company. RSB Systems, and then 3D Solutions. These were all old-time names. And then I was disappointed, with whatever they gave. So I went home one day and asked my son, at that time he was 9 years old, hey Ash, can you throw me some names? So he came running very immediately, So, Dad, you should call it Kyyba. I said, what the heck is this Kyyba? And then he showed me a card. It's like the Pokemon card that, so it's a Yu-Gi-Oh trading game. And the kids used to play. And he said, Dad, this character is Kyyba. This is the main character. If you have this card, you can almost trump anybody. I said, fine, that is the name we should play. And it's synonymous with, bold and being aggressive. And by the way, don't call him exactly like Kyyba, because the actual name is Kaiba. Change something else so that they don't hit you with the copyright. And as you know, at that time, Obama was running in 2008, 9, 10, was repaired. So yes, we can, he kept on saying. So I took the YY and then we just put it. So we made our own thing.
So what I learned from that story is that sometimes, the ideas in your own backyard. And sometimes the expert may not have the answer to what you're looking for. So always remain open. That's really what I came out of that. Simple. It's just asking him out of nowhere. I couldn't have gone late. I wouldn't have asked him. So that's how it happened.
So something which professional companies couldn't do it after spending $3,000, you said?
Yes.
Right? Your kid did it. So did you pay anything to him?
Not yet.
Probably it's a payback time.
Yeah, that's
He may not be aware yet.
Or maybe he has a copyright, probably. Equity is on his name.
Yes.
Okay, Chad, so when you said that you started in 2005.
Yes.
And then you grew after maybe some organic growth, some
Yes,
inorganic growth.
yes.
How is this company from a business standpoint? Where is it right now? What is that that company is doing? And what is the role which you are playing in that company before it gets into the other
Yes.
parts?
So, like I said, we started with nothing, and so we ended up, I think we are close to $50 to $60 million in revenue with about 700 employees. We are into IT and engineering services for major companies like Ford, Chrysler, and GM, and several tier 1 suppliers. And I could keep on doing rest of my life. It's like 10 years now, so I got bored. Like how I got bored working at Chrysler, I got bored. I'm doing the same thing. I go there and talk to the same customer, same nonsense. So I got to do something different. And with a lot of things changing in Detroit, and back then in Detroit, as you can see, during the recession, everybody wrote us off. TiE magazine wrote a big article saying city is dead. And I still remember people buying homes for $5,000 with a credit card in 2009. It was that bad. And as you can see from your own experience, people get mugged in Detroit. And you're even scared to get out of Detroit. So all these bad things were happening. But now the good things are happening to Detroit. I mean, we don't have enough engineering talent. So that's what we are working on. So, and with all the connected cars and driverless vehicle, all those things are happening in the Detroit and Michigan. So I thought I should explore that given my background in automotive. So I wanted to venture into that. And most importantly, I wanted to do something that would be much more impactful.
So just curious, whatever I see on the newspaper and media, especially on public domain, you read a lot about cars and the way traditional car is changing
Yes.
or shifting the need of the people in terms of technology. Do you see potentially that another Silicon Valley coming in Detroit?
Yes, I mean, I think so. I mean, in fact, if you go back to the early part of the last century, there was no Silicon Valley, it was Detroit. The first road was ever put on was in Detroit, Woodward Avenue. So I think, the entrepreneurial spirit and mojo was already there in Detroit, but somehow, once you get rich, you become complacent. People got complacent, the culture got complacent. Now, I think we are hit so bad. I think it is time to come back. I'm not sure whether it will go to the levels of Silicon Valley, but certainly it can run up to the Silicon Valley very quickly.
Okay. Interesting. And Detroit being if I may call it that way, auto capital of almost the world.
Yes.
Right? Because big of the big houses are there.
Yes.
Fortunately, I don't know how much you are aware about the Pune. We are also in the race.
Yes.
Right? Traditional. One is that traditional automobile manufacturer, if you want to put it that way, whether transport or non-transport, like telcos and Bajaj of the world are there since decades, ages, right? New ventures are coming up. General Motors, Volkswagen, Mercedes, Chrysler,
Yes.
Mercedes is around the corner, and quite a few. A lot of ancillaries are around when you look at some of the suburbs of Pune. Do you see potential synergy where Detroit is the auto hub of the world, Pune is in making of that,
Yes.
that connect? How do you think that connect may potentially help us?
I mean,
Audience especially here.
yeah, I think I see a lot of tremendous potential if we tap into it, right? If you don't tap into it, you'll never see it. So, so some of the things that are developed here has a lot of market potential into the Detroit area, right? And so that's where I see, I mean, especially, whether we're talking about new technologies, related to the startups or even mature growth companies can also still pursue. For example, startups. I mean, we have connected cars coming up, we have autonomous vehicle coming up, ride-sharing services, trucking, logistics, clean technologies. I mean, umpteen number of opportunities are out there. And I think if the idea can come from here, places like Pune, and it can be applied not only in the Indian market but also into the US market. So I see an opportunity there. And then, yeah, go ahead.
Just quick, sorry to interrupt, but do you see opportunities purely from an engineering standpoint, or do you see from a technology and a services standpoint?
I think I see both. So technology, I mean, so technology in the sense that the ideas can come from here, right? So based on whatever they are finding here in the local market, local automotive market, that may have an application in the US market. So from that standpoint, technology, yes. And then in terms of the services also, that somebody may have come up with a solution, so that solution can be applied over there. Or somebody may be supplying parts, some components, and they can help them over there. And for even US companies that are not competitive, partnering with their automotive supplier, tier 2 or tier 3 here, will drive the cost structure down, so they become competitive. So if they don't do that, they're not going to become competitive. They'll be off the list. So it goes both ways.
Do you see any challenge in terms of regulatory norms or anything which might hurt, especially, I don't know officially I'm supposed to say, but Mr. Trump coming in picture and import from India or technology from India, or a lot of ancillary companies, product companies are here in Pune, city like Pune, or even in Chennai for that matter. Do you see that as a challenge? or do you have a connect in government? Let me put it that way.
I mean, I'll answer in two ways. As far as Trump is concerned, nobody knows what Trump is going to do, including Trump himself. So number one. Number two, I think Trump is not that smart enough to focus on technology, so he's not going to get into technology. Maybe, in terms of, maybe he'll go after Mexico, but I don't think he's going to go after other countries, because that's not part of his election manifesto. So I don't see any changes happening there.
Okay. So this new venture, and that's where I would like, audience interest to share. This new venture which you are helping companies from India, connecting them to US, especially in cities like Detroit. Can you just elaborate, can you just throw some light in terms of what is that organization right now, what is that you are doing,
Yes.
and how can anybody of us sitting here, either a technology person like me, or anybody who is more into automobile, or whether it's a startup or mature, irrespective of that, how does that help?
So I'll address it in two ways. Number one, let's talk about startups. So I stepped down from the other main company, the Kyyba, so I started Kyyba Accelerator to really focus on the connected mobility part of the ecosystem. Okay? And so what we do over there, we are more like a second stage accelerator. We are not like a typical incubator. We don't get into co-working space, and certainly we don't do any of the cohort-based program. So we focus on areas such as how do we help them on the actual product development. They may have an idea, they would have done a minimum viable product, MVP and all that, but how do you actually get into actually developing a product that the customer will take a bite? And second, we also get into customer development. Other way to say that is to opening the doors. And then the third would be more along the lines of technical mentoring, and then fourth, we do investment. That's what we do from that standpoint. So anybody who wants to pursue in that market space, we want to work with them and we want to accelerate them and take them to the finish line. So it could be anything related to mobility. Mobility is not just limited to automotive. It's limited to everything. When I say the consumers, the fleets, smart cities, everything under the sun in terms of mobility, anything that moves from point A to point B is what we focus on.
Okay. And right now, is it this accelerator program which you are running?
Yes.
What is the stage of that? Is it only right now you are doing for a US company, only India company, anywhere else?
Wherever the idea is there, we want to take it to the next level. So around the globe.
Around the globe.
So mainly we started started a few months ago.
Okay.
So we are a startup for startups.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
Okay. So if I need, let's say, a couple of $1 million from an investment standpoint, I should reach out to you, right?
Yeah, please do.
Please make a note of it. Mobile numbers.
Yes.
Will be there. Okay. Just curious. So one is this connect where it can help us especially in terms of having that acceleration program the way you are
Yeah.
talking from a startup standpoint. From a business development, because
Yeah.
that's my key question, and especially I'm sure a lot of us are interested in knowing. From a direct customer connect standpoint, what is the value which one can expect from, let's say, Kyyba investment or Kyyba?
I mean, obviously, we have not kept that as part of the portfolio, but something that we can certainly look at. In fact, the state of Michigan and the Economic Development Corporation have been actively asking us, as being part of the TiE, is that how do we attract companies, especially from Pune and all the auto clusters in India, how can we bring them to Michigan? So certainly from that standpoint, it's a good thing to explore. And then from my own personal standpoint, as a profit-making initiative, I've not thought about it, but if there are enough people that want to approach, then I may say, okay, let's start Kyyba services or something like that. So that's where we are. So I think where we can help would be more into, it could start as little as say soft landing, and then go into actually opening the doors and developing, being the foot on the ground until it creates an attraction so somebody can actually go over there and then start doing business. Right? Because it takes a while to get attraction.
So if you look at it, and most of us either are startups or grown a little bit from the startup standpoint, the biggest challenge any startup will have is to get that first few customers, whether it's 2 or 5 or 10, irrespective of the numbers, right? Finance will follow through, ideas are ample, every nooks and corner there are ideas, but how do I sell to first 2 customers, 3 customers? Either if you have a business model around that, great. If not, I would sincerely urge on behalf of audience, if you can do something around that where, especially from an auto segment standpoint, where we have a direct connect there from a business development standpoint, lead generation, business development standpoint, I think that will be the ideal way, unless if you guys have any other opinion, because that's where a lot of startups get started and then gets closed down. Purely because I could not sell to that first 2, 3, 4 customers. Any lights which you can throw on that?
I mean, even from my own experience, Jitendra, that's really what we faced when I started the company. Because the biggest thing is that you got to be big enough to go to the big boys, and you're not big enough. It's a chicken and egg problem. How do we crack it? I mean, somewhere we need to crack that. And if you don't crack that, you're done. And so, what I could do is, after this meeting, we'll discuss and we'll come up with a plan and see how that can be put into motion.
And even this challenge, we think that it's only for the startups, but my belief is some of the so-called matured companies in and around Pune who are working with, let's say, big giant like telcos and Bajaj of the world, they have almost stagnated growth, right? So 6 to 10% we are growing annually and we are fine. They're not big enough, they're not small. So it's almost like a middle class family kind of a situation where they can't afford to lose the reputation, yet at the same time they can't live the life of so-called lower income group. How is there a way to connect them also there? Because that's going to be another challenge which in Pune, a city like Pune, we are facing.
I mean, like you said, how much can you milk? There's only so much you can milk from a marketplace. So therefore, they have to look at other markets. And whatever either services or product that they do in this market that can be applied into that another marketplace, such as Detroit, and I think they should look at that. And how do we look at that? How do we penetrate? And how do we grow? That requires another session completely to discuss.
Okay.
Of varying sizes and varying areas. So then we get into the weeds. And but from a general global standpoint, yes, it can be pursued. Because people are looking for those suppliers who could add value to them. And I think in this globalization, nobody cares where it comes from.
True.
Yeah. The only thing that, when you are sitting here in Pune, you don't know much about Detroit. And therefore some education along those lines and some early 1 or 2 wins is going to really make it happen. Rest of, once you make it, you don't need all those other things, as you rightfully said. Then finance goes away, everything goes away. Nothing like getting funded by the customers.
Exactly. But do you see that companies in Detroit, whether it's a big mom and dad like probably Ford and GMs of the world, versus Delphi, which is kind of a spin-off or a little baby of GM, right? Do you see that connect happening at that level, if not at GM level, but maybe Delphi level?
I would even say even one level below Delphi, Jitendra. The reason I say that because if you really look at the Ford, GM and all the big boys, they can send an army of people to India and then they can really go and fish whatever they want, right? It's really the medium-sized company that sees the opportunity, and I think that's where we can at least make an inroad if we are really looking at to penetrate into a tier 1 supplier.
And do you believe that those companies will be open for so-called offshoring?
Yes.
They will be, right?
Yes, they are. So they are.
They are. Okay. So a couple of questions more not personal.
Yes.
Knowing the business side is fine. So one is, what is your vision 10 years down the line? You might get bored with this startup thing, but what do you foresee? What do you see 10 years down the line? What do you?
I mean, I'm not Elon Musk, but 10 years from now, maybe driverless car will become a reality. Maybe we focus on flying cars. So maybe
what about them doing?
That's why I start focus on flying cars, I'm saying.
Okay.
Right? I mean, 10 years ago, if somebody said, hey, this car is going to be driverless, people would think I'm an idiot. And if I say 10 years from, if I say today I'm going to come by flying cars, but already flying cars are being worked on. So you never know what will happen. So I wanted to work on something new, something meaningful and impactful so that I don't get bored. Because after a while, Jitendra, as you know, in an entrepreneurial journey, once you have a certain level of money, beyond which, what will you do? How many cars can you drive and how many homes can you live and how much more can you eat? As you get more and more money, you eat less and less and less. I don't know why. Right?
You eat more than less.
So what you need is something besides money. I mean, don't get me wrong, money is important, but it's not that important. It's more about making an impact, whether it's a technological impact or social impact. To me, at this point in life, that's what keeps me going. And whatever that will be in 10 years from now, that's what I will be working on. I don't know what that is like.
So, while telling the story, you did touch upon your son's contribution, if I may say that, in terms of your growth, your journey. What about the rest of the family members?
Meaning?
Meaning wife, meaning any other kids,
No,
parents?
yeah.
What are their contribution? What do you think? How did they took this journey?
I mean, like, especially my parents, when I told them that I wanted to quit my job at Chrysler, for them Chrysler is like a government job, right? I mean, so you have a pension, you have a free car, you have 4 weeks of vacation, it's like a golden cup. So when I told them I'm going to quit this job, they said, are you crazy, man? What happened to you? Because my dad being in a government service, everything he knows is government. Even to eat a goat, he will say, you gotta eat government goat, that's how bad he is. So everything, the security, so for them it was just a shock of their life. But obviously history would tell them that how naive they were and all of this were. So it was hard to break that mindset. And so eventually, you all go through that. So it's all shock, as an entrepreneur's family, they all go through the ups and downs. And shocks and some successes. They're all part of the same equation.
There's no challenge from the wife that you will get divorced.
Well, I did get
a couple of notices. Okay, just one quick learning from each one of us sitting here, if I may say that. Was there any incidents in your life or throughout your journey where you were almost forced to bend down on your knees and say, God, what the heck?
Yes. I think one in particular that even bothers me, not bothers, it taught me a lesson for my entire life. One, as I was telling before, so I had bought three different companies, but all close to close. Like 2008 I bought one, 2009 I bought one, and then as you can see, we had so much of exposure to automotive, so much of exposure to Detroit. So and as Detroit went through these challenges in 2009, Chrysler was our major customer, and they went through bankruptcy. And so we were riding on Chrysler's growth. As soon as Chrysler went into bankruptcy, we started going down. Obviously, we leveraged the bank to buy the two companies. And before we realized, so then the bank started calling me. Then they said, hey, we got to mortgage your home. I said, oh my God. So it really, they took me down to my knees, really. Some days I even cried. And if we don't manage it well, we may lose everything that we built. So I thought to myself, why? What did we do? Why did we not diversify our business? Why did we focus only on Detroit? Why did we focus only on automotive? Why did we focus only on this Chrysler? So I realized to myself, this is too much of exposure to one thing. And if that one thing sneezes, we catch cold. Not only we catch cold, we even die. And then we have bankers in there, we have employees, we have a lot of responsibility. As much as we think, entrepreneurship is glorious, and we think it's all success, because people, that's all they get to see. But they don't get to see what goes behind it to become successful. And that taught me lessons for my life. And then it also taught me not to, think that you are the hot shot, right? Because the hot shot can go to the ground anytime. And so it allowed me to remain humble and grounded, and started diversifying the business. So we started going to other markets, we started going to other industries, and now I'm going to completely different industry altogether. So that way, with the ups and downs of the economy, with the ups and downs of the city, or even for any customer, you are not susceptible to those risks, right? So you insulate yourself. It's like having a shock absorber. So that was my soldier. To answer it in simple words, is diversification. For lack of diversification is the biggest lesson I learned in my journey thus far. And then its implication with the tank is the biggest thing.
So, slightly contradicting statement I would like to make here. You said one way, said that hey, from a service or a business standpoint, you need to diversify. But on the other side, a lot of time we as an entrepreneur, we always think about we got to be focused on specific services. We can't do everything under the umbrella of Sun. So, how do you balance that? What is the way to balance it?
The way to balance is that when I say, it's obviously we just can't focus on one industry. Automotive goes to ups and downs. So how do we balance it? We have to come up with, services that are complementary to your main business too. You are in the core. You are not so away from the core. For example, don't sell grocery and be a technology company at the same time. Unless you are an e-grocer, you don't do that. So that's what I'm saying. We got into more complementary. So we also started pursuing engineering and along the IT and engineering with the background. And then we got into healthcare. Whatever we were applying in the IT and auto, we were able to apply to the healthcare. So we're not too much away from it, but we're applying to different industries with the same services.
Okay.
That's what I meant. But you're right. You got to have the focus, but focus in the right way.
Okay, good. So, before I open up for the question and answer from the audience, just quick firing question. Ready for it?
Yeah.
This was not told to you. This is not part of the agenda.
Okay.
Beyond the agenda, but let me tell you that. Detroit or Pune?
Since I'm here, it's Pune. I need to leave the door.
Maybe it's already locked. Okay. Automobile, technology.
Technology.
Future, now.
Now.
Family, employees.
Our family.
Yes, let me reverse that. Customers, employees.
Both. We need both.
Okay. With that, thank you very much. That was pretty good. Couple of diplomatic answers, but that's fine. Questions from the audience. I think we got to learn a few things in terms of what not to do. You know, don't just stay focused, but not in one segment, one industry, but slightly diversify. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. And second thing, very importantly, I think I learned what he said is stay humble, be grounded. Don't be on the 2 feet high on the floor, like quite a few symbiosis student does here. Right? Go to Satara or Kolhapur, Nashik, see those college students how they are grounded. Be that way. If you are from somebody from symbiosis, sorry for that. But that's what at least I have seen sitting on the other side. So great, thank you for those advice. Open for the questions.
Your views on transportation as a service, right? The new buzzword, the new disruptions.
So as you can see, let's talk about pollution. Let's talk about megacities. Let's talk about traffic congestion. So all those things are happening, and all those things are going to help transportation as a service to be enabled. We are already seeing that. I mean, nobody thought about Uber 8 years ago. Nobody thought that we'll be sharing your car with somebody else. Heck, we never even thought we'll be sharing our home through Airbnb. Only thing we don't share is the spouse. Everything else is being shared by so many apps. I mean, sorry to say that way, but that's where it's happening. So therefore, transportation as a service is happening in a big way.
And do you see an impact of that on the auto industry in terms of, there are a lot of projections which say that by 2025, the number of auto sales will drop dramatically.
Okay.
People will stop owning vehicles. The idea of using automobile as a service, right? Instead of owning a vehicle,
Yes.
will essentially result in a dramatic drop in sales of these vehicles, ownership of
Of the
vehicles.
ownership, right? So, but also on the same hand, you're talking about a lot of seniors who are currently not driving, and they will be able to utilize this service.
Right. So they are, as
so
the
there will be
theory,
some offsets. Yes.
well, so the theory is that they will become the early adopters, correct?
Yes.
But the pace from then on will accelerate so rapidly that pretty soon this will become mainstream.
Yes.
And this will result in a dramatic drop in auto sales. I think one of the things that I worry about is a lot of auto industry is built on scale.
Yes.
As the sales drop, the costs increase.
Yes.
And suddenly, right, you have two factors driving the growth of service, the
Yes.
transportation as a service. Do you see that completely, bringing something like Detroit and potentially Pune to the same levels as what it was in 2009?
I mean, obviously, I don't see transportation as a service. Are you talking about driverless car, or are you talking about
The whole combination, right? Autonomous
yeah,
cars,
yeah.
electric cars, sharing, and
Yes.
essentially using transportation as a utility instead of
yes.
car ownership.
So let's talk about the US. It's hard to predict what is going to happen. So if I do know, I wouldn't be sitting here. So what I'm saying to you is that I think it's going to take a long time before they become a mainstream. It's all happening in so incremental space. Some projections I hear is 2025, 2027, it may become one. But because infrastructure in the US is going to go all the way up to 2040 before all infrastructure is done, where all this communications happen so seamlessly. So first, the infrastructure has to be ready. So for example, look at the electric vehicles. How long we've been talking about electric vehicles? Because the infrastructure is just not there to support it. So that's why you don't have electric vehicle, but it's all limited by how much they can drive. If you don't have a charging station, it won't go too far. So the combination of, the electricity coming together, mobility as a service, and the infrastructure, all those things have to come together. So I don't know when that will come together, but I don't see that happening in the near future. But I don't think it's going to completely disrupt the whole thing, and one day everything is gone. So it's all will happen in such a small incremental scale.
So you're saying that probably not in our next 20 years of lifetime?
I think that's what I think so.
I have my opinion on that, right or wrong. When cloud as a service started, it's almost similar to this. And I remember one of the conversations a few years back when Amazon and everybody started saying, oh, hardware as a service, platform as a service, and suddenly, all the companies, big companies, whether it's a Dell or IBM or Intel or everybody will go through a downturn, similar to what you are saying from an automobile segment standpoint. Because now instead of procuring the infrastructure, I'm going to rent it.
Correct.
Right? Similar kind of a concept which we are talking about. I don't see too big of a dent in these companies as of today. Maybe 5 years down the line, there might be some dent. Because now it's just the ownership has changed. That's my perspective. First, I was buying, now somebody else is buying on behalf. Now it might happen that scale might change, right? But I believe it won't happen. That's my personal belief, right or wrong.
I mean,
We can always debate,
yeah.
but
More people will be using the car. Of course, the car usage, the same car will be used by 4 people, but more people are coming. How that they all come together is beyond anybody's guess at this time.
Just on the similar lines, you partially answered that question.
Okay.
In terms of how much time is it going to take, and
Yes.
probably a decade or something because of availability of infrastructure and obviously to run those electric vehicles. But what I also read is the Elon Musk car has 85% less components than the combustion engine car.
Yes.
And that's going to impact a lot to the ancillary units, and that's a scary situation. I don't know what's your take on that, and you are close in the technology happening space, so probably you might have a closer look and view on that.
Yeah, but again, the scaling, we are not sure how far they're going to scale. So far, what they're producing about 100,000 units, 100 is all they're producing on an annual basis thus far. So when they're going to take it to 17 million units on a yearly basis remains to be seen. That, Detroit is what we've been doing for the last 100 years. I mean, so that's remains to be seen. That's anybody's guess. And if you talk to all the big auto execs in Detroit, they will say Elon cannot do it. I mean, yeah, you can. It's like a prototype shop. I mean, I don't want to say Elon that way, but it's in their eyes, it's like a prototype shop. Anybody can put out those cars, but can he put out 17 million units? That remains to be answered.
Yeah, but probably yesterday BMW unveiled their electric vehicle. So I think on the back of it, while everybody is talking, they are still working on that.
They are,
Because it's
of course they
creating
are.
a threat perception.
It is a threat. It is a threat, but then, can you take the electric car and keep on driving 500 miles? That I don't think they can.
Sure.
So it's limited to the range, right? So therefore, people are coming up with a hybrid model, so to make sure, right? So unless you're 100% electric car reliant, you cannot, just get away. And that's where the problem lies. And how long we've been talking about electric car? Right, Satish, we've been talking about electric car for a long time.
Sure. But are we at the inflection point? I
Yes,
think
yes.
that's the hypothesis.
Yes.
Or are we close to an inflection point? Because a lot of things are converging.
Yes.
Right? The battery technology, the car technology maturing, the overall the computer on wheels.
Yes.
Right.
It's a walking robot, yes.
Right. Getting to that point.
Yes.
And isn't that also reflected in the market cap, for example, right? Tesla's market cap today,
Yes.
it's one indication of where the future is, right?
Yes.
People are betting on it even more than all others put together.
Correct.
There's another reason for it as well, that unlike those companies that have been making 100 million cars for 100 years, these guys are just, jumping, leapfrogging this whole
Yes.
legacy, if you will,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Today, General Motors pulled out of India.
Yeah.
Okay, just a few weeks ago, they pulled out of India. They are not going to sell into Indian market anymore. Now imagine, just to fulfill their obligations of warranty and support, they still will be spending for next 15 years.
Yes.
Now these are things that are being leapfrogged.
Yes.
So I think a Tesla model is just not about the technology. it's about a new way of distributing cars. They're
Yes.
selling on the web. You know, the customers are prepaying almost like crowdsourced. You know, so I think those are some of the other things that are being innovated, and there's probably a merit to how people look at it from a future point of view. And you know, I think it's like more like Amazon. You know, when they actually pioneered this whole model, and you know, it was reflected in their valuation. And today, it's one of the, you know, they've leapfrogged a lot of these.
Big time, big time. Even in their development, testing and development, yes. Like any Tesla car, they go to the test track, they find a bug, and within few hours they can update the software and run. BMW, all the traditional legacy car makers, they take weeks and months to put the change back and do it. So that's how they are leapfrogging. So yes, they have.
You know, just coming closer to India, you know, Mahindra is now spending a lot of time. They acquired a company in electric cars, Reva, and now they're actually, and we heard the other day that all new Olas in the city of Nagpur will be electric, right? So that's, you know, 600 cars on day one, right? For example, and I just read somewhere, I don't know whether it's true or not, but Narendra Modi is saying that 2030,
Yes.
post that the only cars that will sell in India are electric
Electric,
cars.
that's right.
No petrol or
Yeah, something like that, you know. So
15 years from now, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, that's right.
motorcycle.
I think that's a desire and intent. I don't think they're going to regulate it that way, but at least that's the desire as of now, right?
I think that is
Oh, final?
that's a
Okay.
regulation.
Yeah.
So then we force the technology to happen by such a date, is really what they're mandating.
Let's say only one thing, I agree, but only one thing is what I've seen, if you look at last 10 decades or 5 decades, right? Any new thing which comes in, right? It is a threat for something, but suddenly the customer base is increasing, and hence that threat so-called is kind of diverged. Right? So you look at, you know, when automobile industry came, probably 1930 or whatever time frame, that before,
19something, yes,
right?
yeah.
There was a big hoo-ha around it in US, I remember, where they say, oh, what about, you know, those carts and horses and
Yeah.
die, this automobile, especially Japanese companies coming in, blah. So now that has translated into automobile industry. Now some of the so-called horse owners or cart owners might have been automobile owners, I don't know. But that has translated. And same thing probably will happen here.
Yes.
That's my belief. Right? It's a generation, you know, so-called white revolution and green revolution, and if you go to the history, that's what it is.
That's right.
That's how at least I look at it.
Yeah. And even before the industry revolution in the US, 98% were agricultural economy. And then all wiped out, now it's only 2%. I mean, what are you going to say? Yeah, so it changes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Manishi, So if you look at the automotive sector, the last 5 years, if you follow it closely, so rate of technological development that we have been witnessing, Tesla is one of the examples. They are core technology company and disrupted that automotive industry. And so similarly, if you look at the technology sector, autonomous vehicles, and we have been hearing about Google, and then Uber is also getting into this thing. Uber is developing the technology. Uber is kind of that hold the technology through IBM. So we've been hearing a lot of news about these technology companies coming to the picture, and they're becoming a threat for the mainstream companies. Mainstream companies have the advantage of scale, supply chain, all these things. So what's your take on that? How technology and the advancement of such technologies like autonomous vehicles and fuel cell technologies? So what's your how you see automotive industry 10 years down the line, and how these signals are going to impact the automotive industry 10 years down the line?
I think the question was asked earlier. I think the same thing. I mean, obviously there is a lot of disruption happening with the Teslas of the world, but again, what remains to be seen is that whether they can support the 17 million units remains to be seen. And so, like I discussed before, the infrastructure, all those things, when it's going to come in place, nobody knows. It's beyond anybody's guess. So I think that's what I keep saying. So did I answer your question, or what is you? If you could repeat your question. Yeah.
Yes. So, do you think it is possible that if Tesla, which is a technology company, they have a technology core, same time Google, they have a technology company, But now they don't have a scale and then to take it to the next level where
Yes.
they have a million cars,
Yes,
like,
yes.
production lines and these things. And obviously when you talk about those things, obviously enough capital because Tesla has got a decent funding round and they're trying to increase their production. So how do you think that there's a possibility that these companies not able to scale up to the level would be the get acquired by traditional companies like GM and Mercedes? We don't have that technology at this point of time, but just to coming together and opening up a new possibility.
No, I see that happening. For example, Google's already partnered with FCA, Chrysler on some of the vehicles, right, for the autonomous vehicle testing and all that. Because automotive is a capital-intensive business, right? It requires a lot of tooling. It requires a lot of manufacturing, especially to produce to scale. That I don't believe a company like Google, Apple, or even Tesla has that. And that is the advantage the traditional automakers have. But what the automakers don't have is the technology, because these culture in such big companies are not conducive to innovation. Because they are so much into the past that they don't want to innovate anything. But if you look at all the other new players, that they don't have that deeper manufacturing knowledge and of course the ability to scale. So I think the best scenario that I look at is that either a technology company partner with these traditional makers, or if these guys have deeper pocket, that they could buy a company like FC or other companies and partner with them, and together, to me, is the winning proposition. Silicon Valley and Detroit coming together, and technology and auto manufacturing going together, to me, is the winning ticket to this game. But I don't think one by itself is going to prevail, because these traditional guys don't have the technology, and even in million years, they're not going to get there, because culturally, they are not set up to do it that way. They even look at now, GM, invested into many of the startups, right? Ford got into a lot of startups. So if you see, they're not innovating anything new. All they could do is incremental changes. Is all the traditional automakers are known for. When was the last time you have seen a major disruption, innovation coming from a big automaker? None. But if you look at the technology that is coming, that's what they are known for. But what they are not known for is auto manufacturing to the scale. So like I said, if I were to summarize, combination thereof and the two cultures coming together, the innovation culture and the manufacturing, to me, would be the best way to handle this new possibilities. At least that is my take. And that's what I'm positioning. I hope I answered your question.
So you come from a mix of industries, whether it's automobile, technology, or healthcare, and you've seen the boundaries blurred mainly because of how the technology has penetrated in the various levels, also how digitalization has facilitated the cross-industry coming together kind of impact. So how do you see it affecting further, and what kind of impact will it have in the long run kind of approach to various industries working through technology or through digitalization?
Okay. Apply to a particular geography, or is it just across the board?
So probably from an Indian perspective and across the globe as well.
Okay. I mean, if I were to look at Detroit, Detroit has gone through a lot of changes, right? So like I described earlier, we were about to be bankrupt. The whole city and the whole state was supposed to be bankrupt. I was supposed to not exist. But with a lot of changes happen, we have come back. And so as a result, a lot of changes happen. And now we are talking about connected cars, autonomous vehicle, driverless cars, and all those things are happening. So I think, so from that standpoint, so to me, what I look at is the assets of the region plays a major driver to those changes. Whether if you talk about Pune, one of the assets is automotive. And then, that technology, if it happens in different parts of the world, and how you adapt to that, helps to enable those changes. And then also Detroit is also known for medical devices, in our region. We have the life sciences corridor. That also starting to come up. So I think, what I look at is that, okay, what is the region has, what kind of talent we have, what kind of companies that will support those things, and when you look at all those things coming together, enables those technology. So that is why we don't have a lot of talent in other areas besides what I mentioned. Hope I answered your question, so.
Hello.
Yes.
Very. I am from Symbiosis and I am grounded. So I support the ongoing farmer strike because we are into agriculture space, a technology-driven company in agri space. My question to you, sir, is will Kyyba Ventures be focusing on these decided segmented other than the medical and healthcare? So we'll be looking for any investment in other sectors as well.
No, these are the two sectors we are focusing on. Other, it goes into trial and all that. We don't want to wait that long at a time. So we're not focusing on that. And remember, otherwise Jitendra will be upset. He said, I got to focus. I wanted to be focused. Next time he's not going to talk to me and he's not going to invite me for sure.
Hi, this is Sunil. I have two questions.
Yes.
One is regarding, we talk mostly about the future.
Yes.
Now, if you see, India has not...
It's easy to talk that way.
Actually, my one of the question is related to the future and the one in the past.
Okay, good.
So, we in India, we are not into aircraft manufacturing sector.
Yes.
But we have gone to rocket launchers and
Yes.
kind of had a good field. Like in the same industry, instead of having flying vehicles, why we are going for the autonomous self-driving vehicles? Like there are different technologies that are coming that we are looking after, like LiDAR and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of that, why don't we look at the R&D in the flying vehicles sector, like software-defined tools or propulsion technologies or redundant processing power? So India should look into that. I think, will that work, or are we losing our focus in that? It's just leapfrogging.
It is leapfrogging, you are right, yeah.
So instead of looking into self-driving vehicles, I think we should focus on something that is in future.
Yeah, I think we should. I think people like you or the young talent should pursue. If Elon Musk is working on sending people to Mars, why not us at least fly in our Earth? And that is very much possible.
Yeah.
And I think, us moving from a service economy more into innovation, I think that's what we should be doing. I think India has a lot of talent, it has a lot of bright minds, but I think, we've been somehow culturally, we were focusing most on the service economy. Lately, we are getting into startups and entrepreneurial things are happening, but you are saying, let's leapfrog, let's screw all this thing, let's start flying the cars.
Exactly.
And I think it's a good thing to do.
And
Actually, sorry to interrupt, but actually there is a company based out of Ahmedabad, if I recall the name correctly, it's called Wings.
okay.
I would suggest just have a look at it, because they are doing something similar to what you are talking, where one side they are manufacturing the parts and supplying to Boeings of the world, right, from a so-called bread and butter business standpoint, but on the other side they are spending enough dollars and cents in terms of researching for the flying cars. It's, I think, typical Wings, W-I-N-G-S. Probably do the research on that, because I just happened to meet somebody from Wings and this is what I heard. So.
Okay. And the second question is
Yes.
related to your past. Like you said, you left Chrysler
Yes.
and started your own venture. You just got people on board.
Yes.
I think you made just one or two statements. I think there must be more than that. A lot of efforts
Well.
and lot of sad stories. So I just want to hear something from you so that we get inspiration from those.
In terms of what?
Good, bad, ugly.
Ups and downs.
I mean, obviously...
So how did you get the founder? How did you get the
Yeah.
funding and all that stuff?
I mean, obviously, like with any startup or any company that you start, you always have challenges because nobody believes you, right? One day you're working for Chrysler and next day you're saying you are the entrepreneur and CEO. Nobody believes that, right? So you have to work your way through. So some of the challenges was like, it's like when you are in a school, when you are in the college, nobody wants to give you a credit card, correct? As soon as you get a job, everybody, banker in the whole world wants to give you a credit card. You don't want the credit card, they want to give it to you. Same thing, you want the money, but the bank will not lend you money. And you need money to make money. So how much more can you tap into credit card? How much more you can go and take a home equity loan out of your home so on and so forth. So those were some of the struggles. The struggle was you need money and nobody gives money. And so as we start growing, then the bankers, now the bank are calling, hey, can you come? I said, I don't want money. No, we want to give you money. so those were some of the, so the challenges were always around finance, right? So we grow, and we were in a service business which needed money. So cash flow was a major challenge until we crossed about $20 million in revenue. We were growing faster than what we could sustain. And so every time we grow, then, oops, we are profitable, but our cash flow was a problem. We could not pay the bills. And the bank will not lend because they're always looking backward. Bankers are not looking for forward, right? So they say, okay, give me the statement 3 months from, So I said, I'm looking into the next year, man, but that's how they are set up. So those challenges, teething problems we go through. Same thing with the team. You want to hire the A player. A players want to work with big corporations, right? Because they know what happened. My wife don't want to work with you guys because we don't know when you will get the paycheck or not. So the family stability. So maybe these days the entrepreneurs are all into startups and all that. Maybe the culture is changing a bit. When I started, so the same issues. So finance, team formation, scaling, all those challenges, you just have to remove one obstacle at a time. So entrepreneurship is nothing but removing obstacles along the way, right? The obstacles keep on coming, but after you reach scale, all obstacles become nothing. You still have obstacles, but you don't see as obstacle anymore. So all those challenges we have to go through. So all the way from finance, team formation, scaling, even customers. Many customers, oh, you are so small. What if I ask you to support a $100 million project, which they will never give? But you have to state everything and a plan that will support them with a $100 million project. So you got to put all those things, they throw so much of monkey wrench into it. And never in their lifetime they gave a $100 million project. But yet you have to do all the song and dance and then keep doing and do. So every step of the way is an obstacle and you have to go through that. So I did go through all that.
It's almost like a marriage. Same thing.
You constantly rework on it every single day. That's it. He said it so well. You should have him instead of me.
No, I don't know. You're married?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know that. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Yeah. I'll just answer.
Yeah.
So my name is Nikhil Jadar. I'm the founder of TiE. It's a simple to use accounting software for small businesses. My question is, what kind of difference you have seen for the startups operating in US versus operating in India? Like, what is the right thing they do versus what is the not so right thing that we do?
Good question. In fact, I visited a couple of incubators here in India. I think what I find there in the US marketplace, they have more understanding of the marketplace, but somewhat they lack the technical depth. For India, what I see, people seem to be more tech savvy, but they somehow lack the marketing ability, the lack of understanding, because I think maybe, culturally we are all forced by the parents to be math and science, and people lack that, that's what I see. Over there, it's all BS, right? Marketing and all that. It's quite natural in the US, and they lack the technical depth, and that's what I see. But I think combination is going to be very lethal concoction, is how I see it. That's my understanding. I mean, of course, there are a lot of innovations coming out of the US, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about the masses, yes, in terms of the startups.
Yes, please.
Good evening, my name is Swapnil and I have an application where you can start a carbon fingerprint, and I was earlier based in California, now I'm in London. We have contact universities now. I wanted to ask, did you raise capital during your venture? Like, I heard that you had been associated with banks, but did you think about raising?
No, I did not raise capital. It's a service business. We didn't raise anything with the venture.
So why did you think, or maybe now, will you able to help to raise capital with your venture right now, or it's not
Which one?
The new venture that you're starting.
Yeah, that we will raise capital. We'll get investors and everything else involved. But the company that I started with is a service business. We didn't.
Get into product business.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I raise capital, those guys will own everything, so you get nothing. So why would I work for free?
Yes, please.
Maybe I'm not sure whether it's a very relevant question or not.
We'll give it a try.
Okay, that's what's basically.
We've been trying.
Yeah. So basically, like I'm Snehal, and I'm running an organization in which we develop some kind of mid-sized ERP segment, and I'm trying to just figure out the way that how can I scale up my operations. Okay, I have few customer base out in Maharashtra, and I want to scale up my operations to go across pan-India, maybe international. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the best way of doing it. Like maybe I have a channel network to do it, or should I hire the sales people, or I should give it to some kind of marketing agencies who are expertise into doing it. So I don't know, like if you will be able to.
No, I think the first question is that does your application has any market potential
Yes,
in the countries?
yeah, I do feel, yes.
Okay. And I think then the next step would be, there are so many TiE chapters over there, wherever you could explore if you're part of the TiE organization, and then explore which area that you're talking about, and then start pursuing them, and then put somebody on the ground and partner with them and make inroads. Instead of you going and setting up all the operation, putting money and everything, we explore, and if the market is there, the value can be created. The rest of them is more operational in my mind.
Okay.
As long as there is an unmet need and you can fill, and customers are willing to pay for it, the rest of them should be a piece of cake in my mind. That is the most difficult thing. But I think you have to do the homework to figure that out.
And then another thing is, as Vishwas was mentioning just before a few minutes, can you innovate and do marketing differently? For example, like Tesla way, only online selling. Why do you need to go through so-called traditional way of saying, okay, I'm going to have my channel partner and my dealers and my distributors and whatever. Think on those lines also. That's so interesting.
True.
Can it be done?
So actually, what you're pointing to is a very interesting thing. Most entrepreneurs face this, and actually at TiE we are grappling with this, right?
Oh, is that right? Okay.
So we actually, one of the first of the series, we're actually launching a sales acceleration workshop, which is happening on the 15th of July. Okay. So let's hope we can, help find some answers there. Okay.
So that will be interesting.
Yeah, especially if it's SaaS based, and you should pursue inside inbound marketing and inbound sales, and you don't even need to go to any other places, and you can do it right here in Maharashtra. Yeah. Right, like. Yeah. But check out Vishwas; he has a lot of ideas.
Yes. So the other thing is, a lot of time from a marketing standpoint, to a sales standpoint, just to grab up on that, we realize that hey, whether it's a TiE has a product, my product showcase, or new startup showcase, right? Startup registration, we don't do that, and we think, how will it help? Just to give you an idea, NASSCOM has a product directory, right? Product India or whatever, and this is there since I don't know how many years. So one of the NASSCOM representative here, he just called me one day and said, Jitendra, you have got a product, why don't you register here? This is about 15 days back. So I was like, I don't know, why would somebody go to NASSCOM to buy my product? Right? That was the impression. But I said, it's because Prasad is saying, let me do it. It was more that. I did it, you'll be surprised. 48 hours, I got a first phone call saying I'm interested in your product.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, my NASSCOM fees is done. And by the way, it was free. Same thing, probably startup program, it's free. So some of the things which Shrutik was talking earlier when we started this session, that hey, TiE standpoint, TiE Pune standpoint, we are doing these 5 activities or 10 activities. Sometimes we think that what is going to be the value? Try it, you will realize it. Value you will not know now until you experiment it. Put it on there, you don't know what will come from where. So that's my suggestion. With that, really appreciate it. Thanks for spending time here. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for the
Actually, we usually have this session on a Thursday evening.
Okay.
But today, this was the only day he could make it, so we had to shift days around. It's almost synonymous when we have every other Thursday we have a session.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very periodic activity. So thanks there for we get to meet with Tel when we travel, and we bump into each other at all different places. And today,
Silicon Valley, Ireland, everywhere.
Yeah,
but first time in India.
First time. That too, but what really liked about today's session was there's so much interaction, there's so much Q&A. So I think we got some ideas about the automotive, not our domain, but
Yes.
so thank you very much
Thank you.
for coming. I'd like to, on behalf of TiE Pune, I'd like to give you a small memento.
And I would like to capture it.